So, Fatima, I'm really excited to get into your campaign and to get into your story. But first, we'll start out with something very topical in the news. Uh, Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah.
Amy Coney Barrett. They sworn her in. She is the new Supreme Court justice. You're probably a little hungover this morning from all the celebration you did last night. Are
No.
you? Have you recovered?
Uh, no, my heart is very heavy for the country,
Yeah.
for how how they rushed this. I believe it's the fastest, Supreme Court nomination in about 45 years or something like that. It's just very undemocratic. It's very unfortunate for our country. But, I'm someone that no matter what happens, I hold hope in the people in this country. Our systems are not perfect, but I really hold hope in the people. And I know we'll do the right thing come November. And I think there's ways, that the Constitution allows us to get past this, to uphold some of these rights. So I'm hopeful, Ron. I'm choosing to, kind of stay in that hope, because I feel like that's what our country is about. It's about moving forward, and it's always about, achieving justice. And I do believe we'll get there. And sorry if I'm not continuing to stay on this depressed thing, but that's just not who I am.
No, that I
I
don't.
try to find, I mean, I don't think this is the be all end all. I think there's a way to get around this. There's a way we can uphold our rights. And I think it starts with voting in November. So please don't vote for Trump. Please vote for Biden and Harris. It's very important. I was a strong Bernie supporter, but I encourage those in the swing states. You especially have a role to play in this, and please do the right thing, because hopefully this is a reminder of, what can happen if Trump gets elected. There is really no stopping. So, but we can do the right thing in November. So I just encourage everyone to get out there and vote, or get out the vote. Yeah.
Well, see, I share some of your optimism, not all of it. I don't have very much optimism federally, no matter what happens. I really don't. I'm not telling people what to do one way or another. That's their personal choice. But my optimism lies in activism, and my optimism in electoral politics does not fall on the federal level. It falls on the local level and the state level. It falls with people like you. That's where my optimism is. I can't, I think that the Democrats could have done more to try to stop this. They did absolutely nothing. They did. So many things. They could have threatened to shut down. They could have just rallied public outcry around the whole impeachment thing. Remember, they impeached Donald Trump?
Yeah.
They impeached. Yeah. Now it was a sham, because they didn't look at a lot of his actual financial crimes. Why? Because they're complicit in the same stuff.
Right.
But nonetheless, it happened. And for what? They didn't even try to use it in this case. They could have done that. They could have done every stalling tactic that they had in their arsenal. Nancy Pelosi said herself, well, we're gonna use all the arrows in our whatever she put it. Turns out there were no arrows. They did nothing. They did absolutely nothing, so that they can continue to hold this over people's heads as a fear tactic.
You know what I think it is, Ron? I think it's that you said it exactly right. I think they are part of the system that isn't working for so many. And, they'll go to a certain point, but they won't go far enough, right? They won't go as far as people are going in the streets, as far as activists are going, as far as, independent media is going. They're not going to go as far, because the truth is this: they are part of the system.
They're part of the system, and it's benefiting them.
Yes.
That's the thing. They're part of the system, and it's benefiting them. And it's, and I don't want this to be like the entirety of the interview, but I feel like I feel like we need an option. Like I feel like electorally, we need a completely different option. I understand that people like you who are running now, you have little choice other than, trying to enter and trying to, basically sneak in. Really, it's like the progressives that make it, it's like they snuck in, like somebody, because they spent over, the Democratic establishment is who I'm referring to when I say they spent over $50 million making sure grassroots candidates like yourself don't get into office. That's not, we need something completely outside of the system, and I'm hoping by 2022 we have it. That's my hope. Electorally, and then of course I have a lot of hopes outside of electoral politics. But yeah, it's just so mind blowing. Where it's like, here's something that's extremely fascinating. 5 out of the 9 Supreme Court justices have been appointed by presidents that the majority of voters didn't want. I mean, George W. Bush appointed 2. Now, he did it in his second term. Yeah, but his first term wasn't valid. Yeah. He wasn't a legitimate presidency. It was illegal what happened in 2000. Or, pretty much illegal. I mean, it shouldn't have happened that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Al Gore did nothing. Again, Democrats doing nothing. Al Gore did nothing. Al Gore actually mocked people who were getting kicked off voter rolls. If you remember that footage, he laughed in their fucking face after their rights were just trampled and George W. Bush became president. So, these are 2, and then Donald Trump, of course, lost the popular vote by 3 million.
Right.
So these are 2 presidents that most voters didn't even want. They have appointed 5 justices to a court, which, first of all, isn't a court at all. It's just a political football. I mean, it's a total scam. It's a total scam. And, of course, establishment Democrats are already saying we're not going to expand it. We're not going to change lifetime appointments. So, it's really up to, folks like you who are really trying to, who are running on actual change.
Yeah.
Not like BS. Oh, we'll say some nicer things. We'll tweet to be the ministry of appeasement. But really, we like this status quo because our gravy train keeps rolling.
Yeah. Yeah. I think whenever you kept saying that we need to abolish the Electoral College, we need to
get rid of it.
Yeah. I think, that's why when I talk about a lot of my policies, I don't just, say the buzzwords of Medicare for All, Green New Deal. I understand what's not helping us get there. And it's not, it's to address climate change, to address, really having a democracy. We have to what's the word, upend, if I'm saying it right, the right word, destroy the entire system, and recreate it, essentially, because it's inhibiting a lot of these policies that we need for people, from housing to environment, to schools. It is part of the same system where money is just concentrated in the hands of the few, and it frankly benefits both parties, I would say, equally. If you look at the amount of super PACs, if you look at the amount of money given to, both parties, it is in both parties. So yeah, and eventually we need to get to a system where we have more than 2 parties as well. It's not normal to have 2 polarizing parties, and what is it, something like 40% of Americans are independent. Who's speaking to them?
And no 2 parties to them. 2 parties who have the same owners, as you pointed out. Right, 2 parties who have the same owners. This is the type of interviewer I am, Fatima. You started with, I do have hope, I do have confidence, and then you got to, we got to destroy the system. And I'm like, yeah, that's the person I want to vote for. There it is. You
got it out of me, Ron. You got it out of me. That's who I am too. That's who I am too. So,
no, I know it is. That's why I wanted to have you.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your